Hello, guys and gals, lords and ladies, saints and sinners of every kind. Welcome to Rise of Jerusalem, your Catholic podcast for teens. I'm your host, Connor McLaughlin, and this week we're going to have an extremely fun topic. Kind of like a refresher topic in a way, but also just a straight up fun topic. This week we are going to talk about saints. How do you become a saint? What are some qualities of a saint? You know, just saints in general. Overview of the saints. That's what I'm going to name the episode. Overview of the saints. Poof. But you already knew that because I already named it. But I haven't named it yet, so time, space. It must be like those gravitational hole things they found. Like it's affecting like the time-space continuum. Anyways, let's get started before craziness happens. So first off, if you guys have watched this show for any amount of time, you know that I like to define what I'm meaning when I say something. So when I say a saint, what exactly does that mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. The qualities of a saint are something that you cannot actually define, which bugs me to no end because I really like defining stuff. But you literally cannot define the qualities of a saint besides their one factor: holiness. The word saint actually comes from the Latin word sanctus, which means holy. Pretty simplistic, right? So all that it means when you say someone is a saint, it means that they were holy. Now, some people think that saints all were intelligent. Wrong. Some people think that all saints were from XYZ class. Wrong. Saints are such a differing category. That's what makes it so interesting. That's why I'm planning on doing more of the Who the Heaven Is, because it's really interesting to look at the different types of saints. You have a peasant in Mexico, all right? You have a Korean war priest, who isn't even a saint yet, Father Milcapon. You have St. Anthony of Padua, who preached to fishes. You have St. Thomas Aquinas, who wrote the Summa Theologica. You have Maria Goretti. You have Servant of God, I believe still, Chiara Luce Badano. Like, you have millions upon millions of different saints. You have rich class, poor class, intelligent, really, really dirt dumb. You have every kind of class of saint, and that's what makes the saints great, is because they're all united under one banner, the banner of holiness, right? So now that begs the question, though, what does it mean to be holy? Now, contrary to popular belief, something that actually I thought a while back as well, is that to be holy meant that you were perfect. You know, God says, be perfect, just like, or Jesus says, be perfect, just like my heavenly Father is perfect. So does that mean that holiness is always being perfect? No, that's not what holy means at all, because no one is perfect. By definition, if sainthood means you're only being a saint when you're being perfect, then none of us are going to be saints, because we all are sinners. All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Now, a holy life, all it means is that you're struggling every single second of your life to do the will of God. All right? That's in the Catechism, 2013 in the Catechism. That's all it means. To be holy is to try every second of the day to live the life of God. Now, who is called to be saints? Are there certain people who God calls to become saints? No. Saints is just someone who's trying to be holy. And we have what's known as the universal call to holiness, right? What is that? The universal call to holiness is, well, Matthew Kelly defines it very well. He says that the universal call to holiness is trying to become a better version of yourself. So trying every single day to turn away from sin and embrace God. And that's a really good definition of the universal call to holiness. Now, you have to remember that you have to be holy in the way that God asks you to be holy. St. Vincent Pallotti said that God doesn't ask you to be a Trappist monk or a hermit. He wills that you sanctify the world in your everyday life. So when we look at the saints, we can say, oh yeah, this person was a great holy person, but that may not be the way that God wants you to be holy. Again, going back to why the saints are amazing. There are saints who met Mary, St. Bernadette, the Fatima children, St. Juan Diego, St. Simon Stock. There are saints who never met Mary, a vast majority of the saints. There are saints who just try to live a good life. St. John Bosco, Maria Goretti, like I already mentioned, St. Dominic. There are saints who were scholars, who were just trying to live and grow in the best way they could and preach with other people. Benedict and his sister Scholastica. Everybody is trying to be holy in the way that God asks you to be holy. So there is that call to holiness, that universal call that we get at our baptism to be holy. But God asks us to be holy in a way that only we can be holy. He doesn't ask us to be a Trappist monk or hermit. He may, But internally, all he is asking is for you to be holy in the way that you can be holy. Each saint is great because they give us something that no one else can give for their times. Chesterton said that each generation is converted by the saint who contradicts it the most. Isn't that great? Let's look at it again. Each generation is converted by the saint who contradicts it the most. Contradiction, living against the world, because in every single day and age there is the world, and the world by its definition, really, like the secular world, is living for pleasure and their own personal gain and own purpose, but not for the purpose of serving an eternal Father. So by contradicting it, you are serving God. Now, Chesterton isn't saying that we should all like go up and blow up abortion clinics. What he's saying is that we need to be holy. We need to contradict the way that society tells us to think. If society tells us it's fine to wear immodest clothing, we wear clothes that are modest. If society says it's okay to do whatever, and we know that it's not, we don't do it. It's as simple as that. Now, how do you exactly become a saint? Let's go into the finite detail. So we know that a saint is someone who is holy. So what is the process for becoming a saint? Well, there is a 5-step process, 5-step plan to becoming a saint. We're going to come up with a guy. His name is going to be Jonathan Wilkes. No, that's like John Wilkes Booth. We're not doing that. He was not saintly. I'm going to look at a random thing in my room, and that's what we're going to name it, and boom. I'm not naming him Balloon Pants. Elmer Stevens. That's going to be our guy's name. Elmer Stevens. Now, Elmer, don't judge why I have balloons in my room. Just don't ask. Elmer Stevens. All right. Elmer Stevens' local bishop first investigates his life by gathering information from witnesses and any writings that he may have written. Now, if the bishop finds that he's worthy to be a saint, the bishop will submit our great guy, Elmer, what was his name? Oh gosh, I lost the name. Elmer Stevens, to the Vatican's Congregation for the Causes of Saints. The Congregation for the Causes of Saints can either reject the application or accept the application. When if they accept the application, the person then becomes a servant of God. Good examples, servant of God, Emile Capon is a very big one. If you don't have the book, The Miracle of Emile Capon, or The Miracle of Father Capon, get the book, The Miracle of Father Capon. Trust me, you will not be regretting it after you read it. You just won't. Next, step number 3. The congregation approves the candidate and can choose to declare that they lived a heroically virtuous life. Now, this isn't a declaration that the person is in heaven, just that they pursued holiness while they were here on earth. And after the Congregation for the Causes of Saints have named them that, then they are called venerable. Please don't confuse it with Saint Bede the Venerable, because that is a title given to him. He's Venerable Bede, even though he is Saint Bede the Venerable. It's so confusing. Don't ask. You didn't even know there was a Saint Bede the Venerable? I didn't either until I moved to where I move. There is Saint Bede the Venerable. He's actually one of the doctors of the church, I believe. And he also wrote a bunch of amazing Old English poetry and writings, like really good stuff. Anyways, continuing on. Then they have this great process that has to happen where you have to have a miracle recognized by the Congregation for the Causes of Saints. Now, miracles are generally like miracles of healing. That's whenever you hear about a saint having a miracle done in their name or whatever, attributed to them, it's generally one of healing. So, for example, in our Elmer Stevens, there's a poor old lady living in Wisconsin who prayed to Elmer Stevens, and she lost her cancer, and she has been cancer-free. Now, there are 3 things that has to happen to this old lady for the Congregation for the Causes of Saints to consider it to be a miracle. Numero uno, it has to be instantaneous. It can't be over the period of 5 years, she got better. It has to be instantaneous. It has to be quick. It also has to be permanent. Her cancer can't come back in 2, 3, 5, 20 years. It also has to be completely unexplainable by science. So there's actually someone who the church will hire while they're trying to figure out a saint, whose literal job is, hey, be devil's advocate. Play devil's advocate, because we don't want to say, hey, I think this person may be a saint, but we're not so sure, so we're just going to say, yeah, sure, why not? They will employ secular doctors to say, please check this. Tell us this is a miracle. We physically want you to tell us this is a miracle. Because if they say that, then the doctors will be like, all right, we'll figure it out. It has to be something. And if it's unexplainable, then it's a miracle by definition. Duh. Then our good friend Elmer Stevens will have his paperwork sitting on the Pope's desk, and if the Pope signs it, he now gets the great title of Blessed. Now, all that blessed means is that we recognize that someone is in heaven by the proof of 1. Now you're saying, but Connor, I thought a saint was one who we have admitted to be in heaven. Well, listener, you are right. Now, a blessed is generally limited to a specific group or community or society of people, or I don't know, Wisconsin for Elmer Stevens, or let's say Elmer Stevens was a Jesuit priest. The Jesuits, maybe the one was a third order Jesuit. Now, while a saint is held up for devotion to the entire universal church. Now, how do you go from that blessed to being a saint? One thing. Do the entire last step over again. You have to have another miracle attributed. The person who is the devil's advocate has to try to prove it's wrong. The secular doctors have to prove there wasn't a miracle. It has to be instantaneous. It has to never come back. And it has to be completely unexplainable by those doctors. And then and only then, one can become a saint. Now, you don't have to have both the miracles. Some examples would be John the 23rd and Elizabeth Ann Seton. Neither of them had their second miracle at the time when they were canonized. But generally it's the rule. And some saints are super fast-tracked. I believe Pope John Paul II was fast-tracked, although I'm pretty sure he's fast-tracked. I think he was fast-tracked. I believe so. Fast-tracking just means they only need one miracle attributed to them. And some popes do that occasionally. John Paul II did it a good bit of the time, actually. He did quite a couple saints fast-tracked. Because they deserve to be upheld to the greatness of the entire church. But that was JP2. He did what he wanted. He was a swag saint, super swag saint. Anyways, guys, that ends the explanation of what exactly a saint is, how you become a saint. And yeah, wouldn't it be cool if you were one day like our great friend Elmer Stevens, who became a saint? Wouldn't it be great to have people like doctors saying, well, this person prayed to this person, but maybe it was a calcium deficiency mixed with potassium nitrate in their red bloodstreams, and they saw a vision of a person who they used to see in their past who kind of looks like their son now. Wouldn't you love that to happen to you? Wouldn't it be fun? Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, topics you want me to discuss, post down below in the comments. Send me an email at riseupjerusalem@gmail.com or tweet me at riseupjerusalem. I want to hear what you want to tell me. I want to do something fun. Tell me what you want to hear about. Do you want to hear about, I don't know. Do you want to learn more about our friend Elmer Stevens? I don't know. Let's do something fun. Guys, tell me what you want and I will talk about it. Trust me, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to have fun while sitting in my room and talking about imaginary people becoming saints. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. And as it was in the beginning, is now and never shall be, rise up and live.